Hey everyone, this is Mystic Fish. Welcome to episode 25 of our Factorio Space Age series where we'll be designing self-building mining ships. Last episode, we got just about everything on the ship upgraded to uncommon quality that we could think of upgrading. And I did a little bit more work off camera just to finish that upgrading. There's a couple things that I did do. One was I revamped the plastic production here because I wasn't satisfied with the plastic throughput. And so generally what we did here is I've got a dedicated production of common coal down here. That's feeding the coal into the refineries. If you remember way back when we first loaded up the very first cargo payload, we put enough stone bricks to make 2 refineries. We actually made them, but we've only been using 1. We're finally going fast enough that we can make use of a second refinery. So we're doing that. We've got dedicated ice and water production. And then up here is we still do some recipe switching. So we go between common and uncommon coal up here to feed common and uncommon plastic here. The main things that are in here are figuring out how to dump trash when we switch the recipes. And so really what I ended up doing was, in many cases, I just used the output belt where the plastic goes to like dump trash where I didn't have a convenient place to dump it. And so that meant, at least, I guess, the trash ends up going into the hub and then goes out the trash chute here. So that seemed like it was okay for the amount of recipe switching that we needed to do. The other upgrade that I made was I turned the asteroid belt into a red belt. Now that we have 10 asteroid collectors up front that are uncommon quality, so they each have 2 arms, they can each grab about 2 chunks per second with their 2 arms on average. And so with 20 of them, we can grab 20 chunks per second, which exceeds the 15 items per second that a yellow belt can carry. And so I upgraded those to red belts just to make sure that we can get sort of full throughput out of our collectors, assuming that we're going fast enough to encounter that many chunks. Okay, now I ended up doing a lot of design work off camera. I decided to do it off camera and just show it to you afterwards. There's sort of a long process here of building this stuff. I don't know if this is really going to end up being practical. We're doing it for the sake of completing the design challenge, I think, at this point. But I think it's fun to just see that we can still do it. So this phase 1.11 is one of our branch points. So this is the last sort of phase before we either branch into doing uncommon mining or we start to work on rare quality stuff. And so let me just walk through the phases that we have for getting to the mining. So the first thing to note, I did calculations, and as we did for the common mining, I looked at trying to produce the yellow belt of calcite. That's sort of the hardest one because the oxide chunks you need are the least frequent, and so requires the most asteroid processing and sort of the most raw chunks coming in. And so what I determined was that I need something around like 52 chunks per second to be collected in order to get the calcite going at the rate that we want. And so if I'm going 50 chunks per second, these can only do 20. So that's not enough. So we got to get more collectors across the frontier. And so, we're going to have to make the ship wider. So that's one thing. And that should be okay. And so then I guess the other thing is that we don't actually have a belt that can carry 50 chunks per second. So as we make it wider, I think we're going to give them, I did end up giving them their own asteroid belt system and reprocessing arrays, just as a way to sort of scale things up, I guess, horizontally. So, and then the last thing is, as we make the ship wider, its maximum speed gets slower. And so we do need to, we also have to figure out how to get the thing to go fast enough to encounter enough chunks. And then when we're going faster, then we're also encountering more asteroids that we have to sort of destroy. So we need to make sure that we have enough defenses. So those are all the things that we're going to cover here. And so just taking a look, I'm just going to give you a sneak peek ahead of time. We got 4 phases we got to do to get the ship ready. And then from there, we have our specific, where is the planet destination and what type of resource are we mining. These ships are all physically the same. What just differs is their configuration in terms of asteroid mix, crushing recipe, and so on, and things of that sort. So let's talk about how we proceeded here. So the first thing we did was I made the ship a little, I extended the ship forward a little bit, and I put in an extra row of defense here. So we've got now laser turrets in here, as well as a couple of extra gun turrets along the sides. It turns out the corners are sort of the most vulnerable. And these now have target priorities on them. So all the gun turrets prioritize the medium asteroids. We really need them. The medium asteroids have laser resistance. And so just to make sure we can get them, we want the bullets focused on those. The lasers prioritize the small asteroids that you get when you blow up the medium asteroids. And so what you can see, when we blow one up, we get like multiple lasers that pop in there to get the remainders. And so that's nice, as long as we have enough power for it, because it saves on bullets, which saves us sort of like how many chunks we have to get and provide in order to defend the ship properly. Otherwise, that's really the only thing that we did in this phase. And so now we have to work on making the ship wider. So the next phase actually just almost duplicates the same ship. It's literally, I copied them over. I put a little bridge of space platform in between here. And you can see they do have independent asteroid belts here. But they have a shared ammo belt. The hub is still the only place that we can produce ammo. So we just route the asteroid belt around to the outside of this one. And then when it comes back around from the back, we cut it across here. Then this is the area where we put in the crushing. And these are enough crushers to produce the calcite that we want. That's sort of the slowest recipe that we have here. It is not hooked up because we're not ready to mine anything yet, but a single beacon and sort of tier 2 productivity modules. This is sufficient for all of the things that we need to mine. And I do notice that some of these belts are going the wrong way. I did fix them later. I'm not going to bother here because these aren't hooked up. Sort of fixing the blueprint. So we're just going to, some of you are particular about fixing stuff. I assure you this is fixed in a later recipe, but I'm not going to fix the blueprint in the meantime because we're not using this stuff yet. But the general idea is the stuff that we want gets crushed onto these belts. They come across over here, hop across a bunch of stuff, and get put into the hub here for delivery. And then any waste products, right? So in the case of calcite, we produce a bunch of ice. Those come over here and they get chucked over the side. And then this module here, it has its own set of defenses. It has its own asteroid reprocessing. So we do actually need a lot of reprocessing in addition to collecting all the chunks. So this will do it, it turns out. I feel like, okay, and then this is all of the same asteroid logic that we have over here in terms of high water marks, low water marks, what our asteroid mix is, and whether we want to grab any chunks to put onto our asteroid belt. And then the last feature that I added was I have a like stop switch. So if you recall, these are all set so that you know, when the phases are building, when they get the green signal that they're done, then they stop at novice where it's safe. It turns out that it takes a while to, you know, even if you paste this thing in, it takes a while to like build it, even if you have all the materials. And it's not really safe to fly until everything's going. So all of these have sort of a built-in, I'll call it the parking brake. And so they just come in and with the green signal on, which keeps it at novice. It does mean that we have to, once this is built, it does mean that we have to come back around and turn it on to get it going, but you know, them's the brakes. Okay, then the next phase adds a third one. And so same deal, that gets its own asteroid belt, it gets its own processing, it has its own set of defenses, still have the shared ammo belt as well. This is like extraneous stuff here, I guess, but that's okay. It's got its own processing, but then it's like, it's mostly solar panels back here, you know, for getting the power. It now occurs to me that that I'm missing the example of the next stage, which maybe I'll just upgrade it here while we're on it. Okay, so the next stage is 204, and here's the trick. The trick is that this ship's maximum speed, it's wide enough to collect the asteroids we want, but it can't go fast enough. Actually, its maximum speed is not fast enough to encounter the number of chunks we need. So we need to figure out a way to make that go faster. And so what we've done is this is a trick to make the ship go faster without increasing its weight, which is that we send our fuel and oxidizer as well as the ammo belt down a bridge. It didn't, and this is a good example of why we need the handbrake, the parking brake here, because I couldn't even stamp the whole. Oh, I did stamp the whole thing down. Okay, but we can see what happens here, which is we remove the center thruster, we get a very thin bridge of space platform. We send the oxidizer and fuel down the bridge along with the ammo belt, because we do potentially have to defend this stuff back here, you know, if we're parked in orbit around a planet with medium asteroids. And then we have another set of thrusters here. And the general idea here is that what we've done is we have the same fuel consumption or production here spread across more thrusters, which decreases how full the thrusters are when they thrust. And so we actually get a little more fuel efficiency. We could, I think, if these are capable of keeping the 7 thrusters going, I think we could actually have sort of like 5 sets of thrusters and still have enough fuel production to make it happen. But yeah, as you can see, this takes a while to come in. And furthermore, there's a problem that we have, which is that there are now these big gaps on the ammo belt. And so we actually have to like let this thing sit in orbit around Novice to make ammo long enough that it can travel safely. And then let's see, back here, again, it's hard to route the ammo belt. So I decided I would just put one gun turret back here and then just pepper some laser turrets. For very slow asteroids, the laser turrets can actually take care of stuff. So so I figured that was probably good enough. And even when this thing is flying up front, you can see, wow, this is like slow. I guess I can illustrate here. I'll illustrate this guy too. What it takes. Now this one, we want 203. And you can see it just like slowly creeps its way in. Anyway, I have to see what happened here, why this isn't finishing. It might just be that it's being slow about deciding what it wants to build. Not sure. I'll have to go double check that. At any rate, that is the idea. And where we end up finally is with two sets of the sort of thruster tails here. And this enables us to go to the speed that we want, which is 350 kilometers per second. What I also did was so we set the target velocity to be 360, and then I set the pump frequency to 53. That is the rate at which it is just slightly slower than the max production we can get here, which generally means that we'll be able to keep these tanks full because the pumps don't drain them quite as fast as they can be filled by these. So these will be full, which means that we get sort of the full throughput of the pumps when we use them. And so that actually keeps enough fuel into the thrusters to keep them going as fast as we want. What else here? So we can see the examples here. We've got this is collecting the quality iron ore. I am going to start this guy just so we can see it in action. And we can see that we can go pretty fast. Like we're definitely up over the 350 that we need. Let's watch up front as some of the medium asteroids start coming in. You can see like we get a little bit of damage. You know, the lasers get them a little bit. Really, the medium asteroids get taken out by the gun turrets, and then the small asteroids get cleaned up by the lasers. But you can see we're now encountering medium asteroids pretty quickly, and trying to keep up with things. Now, if we look at in this case, the main thing that's different is the asteroid mix. So they all kind of need all of the regular ones. We need largely for fuel. So obviously we need iron ore, carbon, and calcite to do the fuel, as well as ice for water. We need metallic asteroids for ammo as well. And then we need whatever the uncommon version is for whatever we're mining. Now, there's a couple of things that we have here. So because these have independent sort of controls on their processing, what that means, the general idea is, though, this is where the crushing happens, the actual sort of resource extraction. So the idea here is we shoot for the same balance, but but we look and we say if we're short on the uncommon metallic asteroids we need for crushing over here, by checking our sort of asteroid count that's coming off of here, where it's, we look and we say, if it's 1, meaning we don't have enough, then you can grab any that you find over here on this side, and this is just how we get it on both sides of the belt here. So these will take the uncommon metallics and put them over here as they get produced. These go the other way. So anything that is higher quality than that, we put back over here because we've already got a way to get rid of them here. So like we don't get clogged with the random legendary asteroid chunks. Same deal over here. From the uncommon metallics that get produced over here, we put them over here so they can get crushed appropriately. And anything that's of too high quality comes over here, which means that eventually it comes over here and gets dumped off the side. Oh, are we back? Oh, we're back. Well, that wasn't fun. Okay, I didn't finish talking about stuff and we're back already. Okay, so then we can come back and take a look at what's going on back here. We should see the thruster fuel stuff draining, but you can see we get the tails coming back here. There we go. Now the fuels are falling, and I think in this case they fall somewhere around. They should steady out at around. Well, we'll see where they steady out. Okay, they did. Sort of around 1/3 to 1/4. And so this does allow us to keep a steady state above 350 kilometers per second. Which is what we want for doing the chunks. You can see there are some like random things that sort of get defended back over here. Man, you can't even see the stuff that's like behind the thruster clouds here, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this is keeping up. We kept this area clear in between. So these are only the 3 segments are only connected by platform up front, so that we still have convenient places to chuck stuff over the side when we need to. And yeah, that's uncommon mining. I will say the Fulguran versions here, these are a little light on power. There's not quite enough power. On the other hand, it does a round trip so fast that I'm just sort of like, I'm not too worried about it, and I'm sort of not going to go back and revisit it. So we'll see. But it's pretty close. It's able to. It is short on power, but it is able to still produce calcite while it's doing that. So I'm going to call that a win. Okay. So yeah, that's it. That's uncommon mining. These phases here do definitely take a long time to build. This is now 202. Did this guy, right? This guy's not even done like building its stuff. As you can see, did this guy finish back here? I don't know. I have to go see what happened with this stuff. I must have a bug in the victory conditions at some point. But I will go fix that stuff off camera. And I think what we are going to work on from here is we're going to go back to, well, I guess this guy here, not counting, let's see, actually, I guess I need to make this one. Let's see, what did we do? I did this. Let's make this phase 201. paste that in. That gets the stuff up front with the extra defenses, etc. Okay, right. So that's what we have, but basically this, I think here, physically, this is also going to be the basis for, you know, the next thing down here, where we're going to start working on, uncommon. Wow, I'm dumping a bunch of stuff overboard. Maybe that's the problem. Oh no, that's okay. This is all the common quality stuff I don't need anymore. That's fine. Anyway, this will be the basis now for going for rare stuff. So I think that's where we're going to go next episode. So I think the episodes are going to be more like today's episodes, just sort of highlighting the couple of new things that we do. There's not, I don't think, I mean, we'll have to see, but I don't think there's going to be that much more design stuff really to do. I think it's mostly sort of upgrade to the next tier of quality, figure out the processing math for how many chunks do we need and how many processing, recyclings do we need. And then sort of make the ship wide enough, upgrade belts where we need to, and then add thruster tails. And that's basically it. So we'll see if we can actually get all the way up to legendary. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't totally run the numbers yet. I'm hopeful that it'll be doable. It seems like we can make we know how to make the ship wider to get the asteroid collectors, so that's okay. And we know how to make it go faster by adding thruster tails. So it feels like it should be doable. The big thing is just waiting for all this stuff to get built. And so like some of the builds, like the victory conditions for like some of these, like take like the ship builds for like 12 hours or something. Like I leave it running overnight just to like get all the stuff built. So maybe a little bit between episodes, but we'll see how that goes. So those are all problems for future Mystic Fish. So that's what we have for today. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, bye.